Right, what have we got today? Boosh, it's quite an interesting one today. So this is, and I'll show you the box while I explain what it is. This is the Symtik Galacok. Now, although a Symtik Galacok might sound like a sex toy, it is not a sex toy. It is an EDC, a multi-function screwdriver or driver system anyway. So that's the company who makes it. I've noticed that on Amazon and all sorts of little Chinese websites. They do the usual thing where it's some random brand name that they just seem to come up with at the drop of a hat, and they're all selling the same thing, but the person who actually makes it, or the company who actually makes it, sorry, is this company here. So at symtik.com. So go to their website if you want to have a look. I bought this with my own money, don't know anything about that company, got no affiliation to them, so this is an honest review. There you go. Boosh. I just saw it and I thought, now that looks very interesting. Could this be the future of EDC drivers? Right, get this box open. Boosh. Right, get rid of that. Here's a little thing that comes in with it. There's the actual driver itself. And I've put the stuff back. You've got this little rubbish here. And then there was a little thing in the bottom here, which is like an extender. So there's your extender, which I'll take out. It looks like a press fit holder anyway, but I'll show you that. And then that's the box. So boosh, not interested in all that. And the other thing was silica gel, not particularly interesting. So before we have a look at the item here, here's what they're claiming. So they say here, rotary mechanism. So I'll get you a nice close up there. Rotary mechanism. Rotate the designated position. When they're on about this, they're talking about this collar here. So rotate the designated position and then push out the batch head. I don't know what they mean by batch head. Bit head probably they mean. So you are retaining bits and you can take them out at will. And then as an added feature on this, you have a force lever mechanism, which is very similar to, where is it? If you remember, I've been told this is more of a, I mean, this is getting old now. Look how bashed up this is. I've had this for quite a while now. But this is quite handy. It's just a nice little driver, but it has the added function of, boom, right, you've now got more leverage than the leverage attained from the center of here to out here in rotation with your fingers. That is, you can put a lot of force on that, especially if you put your thumb down and really crank on that. So I like that design, and that is incorporated into this. So there you go. They're saying pull out the tail cap, blah blah blah, rotate 90 degrees, obtain the force lever, use the force, Luke. Right, anyway, get rid of that. Right, we'll quickly go over this. This looks quite cheap to me, but it's just an add-on. It's almost got like a stonewash finish on that. I don't know if that's intentional or it's just, it came out really bad. I think it probably came out really bad. But it is a anvil head, so you can use it. I mean, I wouldn't, but this is obviously similar to what you would use in a power driver or something like an impact driver, a screwdriver, because you've got this anvil head rather than the smaller heads. These smaller heads look like, let me have a look, boosh, like that. That's what I'm talking about, where they have the little detent there for retention. So it's magnetic down the bottom. It's okay, yeah, and it gives you a little bit of extra reach, so you just stick it in like that, boosh. Because this head will do the smaller heads like this and the ones with the anvil for power tools. So yeah, it works and it gives you a little bit of extra reach. And it's okay. The magnet in this is okay. It's just okay. It's fine. It does the job, basically. So put that to one side. Right, let's get a nice close look at this. So the Galacok, I wouldn't have picked that name, but comments down below what you think that should mean. You know, it's like a Guardians of the Galaxy themed sex toy, basically. That's what I would think that was if I didn't know any better. So we'll get a nice close look at this. I've done this in 4K HDR at the highest bit rate I can get away with. In fact, put it that way so you can actually read the bits. The bits are stamped. I love that. I hate bits where they're not stamped. In fact, is this one guilty of this? Look. I know they say laser etching and all that rubbish, but when they're more like that, sorry if I can get it to focus, that comes off over time and I get annoyed because then you don't know what the bit is. I prefer stamped like this, and they are claiming, I don't know if this is true, but they are claiming it is S2 steel. So it's not the monkey metal that you get from the dollar store. It's the decent stuff. Okay, that should last. And it's got quite a nice finish on it. It's certainly not chrome plated or zinc plated or anything, but it's a nice finish on those. And then there it is there. So I'm giving you a nice close look. And here's the retaining collar at the top. There seems to be some sort of set screw there, which is a tiny little hex by the looks of it. And then this knurling. I would have preferred deeper knurling. It's okay. It's okay for my fingers, but I would prefer to make the knurling deeper and to tighten this, because look, if you look closely, see there are detents. See the detents under there? There's like, you can see 2 at a time there. So what's happening is, if you listen, hear the little clicks? It's detenting into those set positions. That's okay, but I would have preferred that to have been tighter, because if you leave that the wrong position, what happens is the bits can come out. In fact, it's proved me wrong by not coming out for some reason. Yeah, so they can fall out, which has happened in testing. So boom, stick that back in, and then you would rotate the collar, bang. Now the first question you probably got is, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So can you put a normal bit in? You can. So if I take that out and I put this one in, this just happens to be a Vera bit, so pop that in. Yeah, they fit. Standard little ones with the detents on like this. So this bit will fit, no problem. So stick that back. So you're probably thinking, well, okay, well, what bits do you get and how does it work? Well, you've got a lot of bits, a hell of a lot of bits. In fact, I'll go through them as I rotate this and give you a nice close view. So you get a Phillips 1, 2 and 3. That's pretty good. I mean, these are 1/4 inch hex bits. They're 6.35 mil, I think that is, in metric. So they're not the tiny small one. So if you want the tiny small, let's have a look. I've got a little Hotto here, which I've used many years now. Or is it coming up a year? Really good. These are the small little bits. So it's not these ones. These are the real tiny ones, which I use quite regularly. But for standard 1/4 inch, and I have proved they are standard, so you can use any. As long as they're not the long ones, you get quite a few. So pH 1, 2 and 3, you get a square 0, 0, a square 1 and a square 2, or 0, 1 and 0, 2, square or Robertsons, I think if you're in Canada. And you get slotted 4, 5 and 6. You get a hex 4, 5 and 6, and loads of torques. You get a 10, a 15, a 20, a 25, a 30 and a 40. And the hexes, I was quite impressed. So if we can find a hex, so there's T for torques, PH for Phillips, SQ for square or Robertsons, and then you have the SL for slotted, and then you have H for hex. Now, if I go to the torques, where are they? There. So can you see? Fantastic. All the torques are security torques. So if you get those irritating torques that have the little bit in the middle, which you can get around it by drilling it out and all sorts of funny little tricks, but without having to do that, you can just use this head there. So, and they're quite nicely done, even down to the smaller ones. I noticed on these bits, and I don't know if anyone can tell me this, I mean, I know what S2 is, that's just the type of steel, and then T for torques, 25. See how there's an H? Now generally, and I know especially with Avera and things like that, an H stands for holding. So what they do is they slightly taper that, and I think that's possibly what's going on here. But I don't really think that's the case. I didn't feel it. Now H for holding function means that because that slight taper, it will retain a fastener. I didn't really notice that on these, unless they've put the H on and it doesn't do it, or I'm doing it wrong, or you need to really force them in. But I'm not really seeing that myself. That looks quite parallel until you get right at the top. So comments in the section, stick a comment down below if you think I'm right or wrong. But I think that H may be a holding function. I don't know. Or H could be for high security or something, because they are security, but you'd presume they just put S for security, something like that. So very nice, and I've got you a good close up there, so decent quality. Right. Pop that back in there. So in normal usage, you would rotate this round and you'd say, right, I want one of these. So Phillips 1 or whatever that is, right? So you'd pop it in. Now you have to remember to do that, otherwise the damn things fall out. That's another thing. So yeah, you can take it out with your thumb, but remember. So boom, take that to one of these sections. So magnetic on the tip there, boom, goes in. The magnet is okay. I would say it's weaker than the little Vera here. In fact, let me just test that again. I did do a lot of testing on this. In fact, no, that's quite strong compared to that. I would say it's half of the Vera. So if you own any Vera stuff, it's half of that. It's nowhere near the VHAR. I mean, this uses a retaining ring, and it's absolutely nowhere near the PB Swiss. PB Swiss is like, that's ridiculously strong. It's excellently strong. So I would say it's slightly, I would say it's 50% less than what you'd get from a Vera. So it's okay. It's just okay. It's certainly nothing to write home about. It does the job just, but if you're using posi heads or something like that, or you've got a Torx that likes to stick into a soft fastener, you're going to be pissed off with this. You're going to get annoyed like I do. That's why I tend to use locking heads. I mean, this isn't a locking one, but you could put a locking one in, but I'm just pre-warning you on that. But this is it's not prototype. I mean, you can buy it, but it's early days, and I think they should do a V2, so it's okay. They need to make that better. Now, looking at this, you probably think, hang on a minute, why is there 1, 2, 3 little weirdo things there? Are they neodymiums? I don't think they're neodymiums, but they're certainly magnets, because you can do this. See that? Why on earth would you want to do that? Well, the reason why I'd want to do that is if you're using two similar bits or dissimilar bits even, and you are doing a job one after another, right, yeah, I'm using that bit now, I'm using that bit now, I'm using that bit. You haven't necessarily got like a railer bit holder or something like that. You can technically you can pop one in, do your job, and then go, right, now swap to that one, pop that there or wherever. Now put that one in, boom. See, so it's a quick swap. The only problem with this quick swap mechanism is this is so high up, you're just going to knock that. And I have tried that and it just gets knocked. And they need to rethink that. They need to make that longer and a better magnet, or make this further down. They need to do something, because I love the idea. You can just quick swap between that and swap between that. I've got a little reel for some of the Milwaukee drivers I've got, and that works, this quick swap. But, you know, I mean, other manufacturers do other ways. You know, VHAR have got like double-ended bits, so if you're using something similar, you would just be swapping over. So you'd be saying, right, I'm using that size, now I'm using that size. I'm using that size, so it'll be in and out, in and out. That's just their method of doing that, and you're getting more bits in a compact space. But I think in this instance, they need to rethink that. So I'm going to mark them down a little bit for that. I like the idea, but I'm going to have to mark them down a little bit for that. So then you can pop your bits back in. Boof. Now, see, I forgot there. See how there was a bit there? I totally forgot, and I left that in that position. So, see, easy done, and I've done it, and then they fall on the floor, and you think, what the hell's going on here? It's raining bits. Okay, so I like it, and it does have the extra feature of the force lever here, which I'll show you in a moment. So, in regards to spinability, I always like to do a bit of spinability. Let's see. So, you ready? I think that's pretty good. Nice and smooth, so when you're using it, it's quite smooth. Like that. That feels quite nice to use into the palm there. And for the force lever, it's exactly the same as the other one. Comes out, you send it that way or that way, and then you have a nice lever. Nice. That feels pretty good, and there's not too much wobble or anything. And you can see how the rotation works. It is simply a ball head there, which goes down into a shaft. Boom. Pretty nice. So very impressed with the spinability. I like that. I don't like the ones where they don't spin, and I think they've done a decent job. Pros and cons, I've tried to keep this quick. I've already gone over 10 minutes. Sorry about that. Plenty of bits. I think that's a good selection. I like to see the square bits, even though I don't really use them here where I live in the UK. Generally don't see them unless it's on old furniture. But I think that's, for other markets, brilliant, because people do use square bits, especially in Canada and some parts of America. And you get an okay amount of slotted, and they're decent. The hex, I would like to know if the Torx security do have a holding function, but people can probably let me know that in the comment section. And they're using S2 steel. So, stamped bits, which I think is important. You got your force lever, Torx security, and plenty bits. So, I'm going to have to give it an okay mark. But the problem is, this isn't tight enough, and the knurling needs to be better on that. If they tightened this head and made an adjustment where using one bit and swapping out, I just think they need to rethink that. I love the idea, but it's just not feasible the way they've got it set up. But never mind. And other than that, I think they've done okay. And the magnets need to be stronger, and the ring needs to be tighter. Other than that, I mean, really, what I'll do is, I haven't even thought of that. I should go and try and see if I can tighten this set screw. I wonder if that set screw would tighten that up. Would I have to do both sides to get that on? I'll try that later on, and I'll probably update, but I think they've done an okay job. Just some comparisons for size. Let's have a look here. I mean, if these are all bit storage devices. So there's the little stubbies. I mean, obviously you're not going to get the same amount of bits, but there's PB Swiss's offering, which is beautiful bits and a beautiful mechanism with a lovely handle, but very small, extremely good magnet though. But look, that's really small. That is not so small, but you're getting more bits. The Vera, there's the Vera. It has the wobbly head there, which is by design. Wobbly rotating head and an OK magnet. And you have the VHAR. I've got multiple ones of these. I've even got one lying on the desk at work there, which I use quite regularly. And these are double-ended bits, so non-standard. Somewhat proprietary. Boosh. And just for size comparisons, let's compare it. There's the two ratchet ones from Vera there. So not much bigger. In fact, it's almost about the same size as the version 2 of the ratchet driver there. So, but obviously neither of those has storage on device there. Sort of the nearest comparison you could say would be the PB Swiss. He has the 6464 black, which is the version 2 of this kind of design. There is a one with a screw-in top. This one has a top that just comes out like that, and that's how they've chosen to do their storage there. Beautiful bits, but big price difference between this and that. Okay, right, I've talked enough. Sorry to waffle on. It's okay, it needs some improvements. Better magnets, better knurling. This needs to be tighter. And they need to rethink this. That needs to be further down or that needs to be further up. One or the other. Right, if you agree with me, stick it down below. If you think I'm full of it, stick that down below because it's good for a laugh. Right, I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. It's just getting 8 because I would genuinely carry and use this. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's not brilliant, but it's fine. It's just getting to an 8, I would say. That's my honest opinion. Right, thank you for joining me. I'm going to get on with some more important things. So goodbye.